Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and there's one of these micro water pump style pliers I haven't dealt with before until now, and that is the Snap-on AWP45. It's a 5-inch, about 3 or 4 3-position tongue and groove style plier. It is spring loaded. It's the only one out here that's spring loaded. But it has a few areas that I think could use some improvement. So I'll go over that because I think these smaller pliers are quite valuable. They come in handy, but this one seems to have some significant limitations. It does have the traditional Snap-on quality feel. It's a USA-made tool. It's got the heavy, kind of thick dipped handles that we like on our Snap-on pliers, a lot of us. But when I compare it straight across to some of these other, micro water pump pliers. Now, when I say water pump pliers, that's often a term that's used to describe more the shape of the plier. It's like an old water pump where you'd have the handle out here and you'd be pumping in order to keep things going. You got to get out and camp more to some places that have those still in campgrounds, so kids these days understand what it's like to pump their own water. But anyway, that's where this style I believe originated, so that's why they called it that, not necessarily because you were working on water pumps. In fact, some of these, like this one, this channel lock is known more as an ignition plier, and ignition pliers were designed for working on, say, the points, etc., on carbureted cars, where you needed small little tools like this. But anyway, back to this guy. Few things to note. First of all, if I put the jaws parallel, it has a fairly narrow, capacity. You can grab at an angle, and it does have fairly stout and wide here jaws. But let me grab my caliper here. This, by the way, is a Q-Fun. I can put a link below if you're interested. Every time I pull it out, people ask about it. I've been using this one for quite a while, and then I had the blue version that was available before this that had a few less features and a smaller display. But anyway, this thing's great. Seems quite accurate. But anyway, so I'm going to move this to the largest position here and basically open this up and then squish down until I'm getting approximately parallel. So if I look at it, maybe I'll do it this way so you can see, till those are about parallel right there somewhere. So about maybe 11.5. That's where I'm going to call this Snap-on one. How about this little tiny channel lock? Where does this one fit? Flip it over here, open this up a little, and then shrink down to parallel right about there. 11.8. So this is actually greater, this little tiny one here. Go to the giant Cobras here. If I open that up, what are we looking at? 26 easily, maybe 25 if I shrunk it down a little. But you don't have to get these perfectly parallel because of the kind of the trapezoid there, or when the stall vela that I'll show you, it has a concavity. But anyway, so 24, that's quite a bit more. That's over twice. Here's the little plier wrench. Now obviously the plier wrenches, they have parallel jaws throughout, but if I go to maybe just a slight compression indicating I've got a good grip on whatever I'm grabbing, this one here is, say, 22, 23, somewhere around there. The stall vela, which is a 3-position or 4-position alligator style here, which again, there's less to mess up probably if you get these things dirty or muddy, whatever, compared to the mechanism in a traditional Cobra. So this one actually locks up right here because of this. It's kind of like a pinch guard right there that's on larger pump pliers. But anyway, if I just throw that in at its smallest, what am I looking at? 17. So definitely a lot more space, a lot more grabbing capability. Another thing is this little tiny, ultra thin arm here. If I compare that, this channel lock ignition plier is actually thinner, but I can easily bend this thing just by putting a little bit of force on it. It doesn't take much to bend that. This one obviously a lot less, and also if you tried to close this when it wasn't quite in one of the grooves, it'll start to spread pretty quick because it's just paper thin. Whereas most of these others, you've got some significant metal there. Plenty of metal to hold these together. In fact, here's the, if I compare the crescent here, go ahead and take a little bite out of that one. What do I have here? I've got 1.97 for the thickness there. I can go to the crescent here. 2. So a little bit thicker. Another thing is, you notice these have a fairly svelte profile there. You can see nice and clean lines in this little guy here. It's riveted. Look at this. Ta-da! It's got a great big old nut there. And in fact, if you measure the nut, and I kind of have to guess at it here, but if you see, if I line up my thickness indicators on here, I say 2.5 millimeters. Compare that to, you know, the, line that up so it's not moving, the 1.92. So the nut here is actually thicker than the arm. So I think they could definitely shrink that down. That's almost the same size nut you would see on a larger pair of pliers. I don't know why they haven't shrunk it down. But anyway, there it is. It's a simple little design. There's a whole series of these, and the other ones I've had in the past were spring-loaded, but I thought they paled compared to, you know, something like this. These sell online or off the truck for about 38 bucks, which to me is on the steeper side for something like this because you can spend not too much more and get bigger sizes. But it's fun to have these little ones, especially if you're a fan of Snap-on. But there are plenty of choices, and they're all just slightly different. And some of them are barely over $10, if that. Some of them are cost a little more. Some's flexible pricing depending on, it seems like, the season. But here are the Snap-on ones for what they're worth. If you've got experience with them, let me know what you use them for and why you would use these over, you know, some of the others, especially the Mini Cobra. But there it is, the Snap-on AWP 45, made in USA. And with that, Doc out.